Hello everyone, it's Thumper the Rabid Rabbit. It's been a while. To my subscribers, hello. I'm glad you're still around. It's nice to see you again. I have not been doing Rust in quite some time. I dusted off the test server today to respond to an unusual amount of inquiries and questions recently about building a trap base. My guess is that we have a lot of new players, and that's awesome. We love new victims and blood available in Rust, so welcome if you are new to Rust, which is probably why you are here. Let me give you just a quick overview of what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to go through a couple of components that allow you to build the most basic of trap bases, and I mean basic. Don't expect advanced players to fall for this shit at all, because they won't. But there's plenty of noobs out there, maybe like yourself, so this might help you know what to look out for a trap base, but also how to build one. It's also a nice way to get a quick introduction to some of how electricity works, and believe me, you will want to know how electricity works in Rust now. That's not always been the case, but it certainly is today. So the basic concept that we have here is an outside door that we want to close and lock when triggered, and an inside door that we want to open containing guns that blow the shit out of someone and gives you all of their loot. That's the basic principle. The way we accomplish this is by automating the function of the doors using the door controller. That's this little device here. You can see the one on the outside right now is hooked up and powered. The one for this door is actually hidden inside. It is unpowered. The way these function is whenever there is power to a door controller, it opens the door, and it'll hold it open so long as there is power applied unless you manually close it. Put locks on these doors, by the way, kids. Jesus, come on. Basic. And when you take the power away from a door controller, it will cause the door to shut. So that's the principle we're relying on here. The components we're going to use here today are the door controller for the doors, the laser detector for our triggering device, although there are other triggering devices like the pressure pad or HVHF that would also work well. We are going to make use of some branches. This is how we split power. We're going to make use of a timer. I'm using this as a reset switch. You could use a manual switch as well. I just prefer to use the timer for this application. And we're going to use the memory cell. Lots of people have questions about the memory cell, so this hopefully will be a good demonstration of how it actually works in basic functionality. So we have to start with our power source. Today I'm cheating and using a test generator that I dropped in here out of the menu. This is not available in the regular game, but this circuit only takes a few Rust watts to operate, so you can use something as small as a small battery and maybe a solar panel to keep it charged. So you don't need a lot of power to make this happen. So the logical flow that we're working with here is we take our power source. I'm using a red wire for that. And we split off a couple of Rust watts for the door control logic. And then I split off a couple more Rust watts for the reset switch. And then the rest of the power is just going through over to power our laser detector. In this case, the electrical branch, which is a configurable device, you configure how much power goes out of the branch, and the remaining power will continue on through the output. It's in its default configuration right now, which is 2. Those 2 Rust watts are going into this memory cell. And as you may have noticed, the black wires are the ones that are connected to the door controllers. So the top one is from the outside door, the bottom one here is from the inside door. And you can see the outside door wire is presently connected to what is called the inverted output. The inside door is connected to the output. Now what the memory cell does is it takes its input power and it applies it to the inverted output when it is in the off state or false state, and you can see that it's off because it has a green and a red. Green means it's powered, red means it's off or false. As soon as we turn this thing on or flip its condition to true, it will change its output from inverted output to output. That works for this logic because right now its inverted output is powering that outside door and holding it open. As soon as the trap is triggered, it switches to the output, which powers the inside door, opens the trap, and cuts power to the outside door. The way we do that is using these handles on the side. There are 3 of them. The first one is the set handle. The set handle is what causes it to go from false or off and change to true. That is a single direction operation. You apply power to this set handle, it goes from false to true, or off to on, or inverted to output. If you want to switch it back, you apply power to the middle handle, the reset handle. That sets it back to false or off, and that switches the power output from here back over to inverted. There is a third handle that we're not going to use today, and it is called the toggle handle. If you have a case where you want an event to cause this to flip back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, you just keep applying power to the toggle. Every time you apply power to this, it will flip from one side to the other as if you were flipping between set and reset. Very handy for a lot of logical applications, not necessary for what we're going to use today. So, as you may have noticed, the event that causes this to switch from inverted output to output and causes the door to close and open the inside is the green wire. The green wire is coming from our laser detector. So the red power, the leftover power of my circuit's coming over here, and it is powering this laser detector. It does not output power until it is triggered. As soon as you break the beam, and you can kind of see the beam here a little bit, and so can everybody else, by the way, so they can see this if they're paying attention. If they break this beam, it will trigger this device. It will send its power out through this green wire. That green wire comes over, hits the set handle, and flips the power from inverted to output, thus triggering our trap. That's how basic this is, and that's how useful that memory cell is. So the other function here is my timer. If I hit the timer, it applies a quick pulse of power to reset to make sure this is off. So the whole trap is set right now, and all you need is someone to trigger this laser beam. So I'm just going to step over here and get close enough to trigger it, and boom. There you go. The outside door shuts. You can see this turned off, causing the door to shut. The other door controller turned on, causing this door to open. At this point, I am dead. I am a pile of meat on the ground with flies, and my loot is waiting for you to pick up. That's how the trap works. It does nothing until you come back and reset this. As soon as you hit the timer, or you could put a manual switch here. Warning, if you use a manual switch, make sure you turn that switch off again. You can turn it on to reset, then turn it off again. That's why I like the timer, because it's just a momentary pulse. That resets our trap, and now we're ready for our next victim. You will want to enclose these electronics in a locked room so people don't peek in the door and shoot them out and kill your trap. Or get wise to the fact that you have live power in here. The shotgun traps, the laser detector, they don't make any noise like an HBHF or an auto turret does. So you may be able to fool people into thinking that this is just a dead base, like abandoned, and have some boxes in here and make them think they're going to get some easy loot. If they're smart, they'll probably notice this laser beam here, but there's no guarantee that they're going to get clued into that. So, you know, if you're creative, or maybe hide a pressure pad like under a carpet or something in here so that maybe they'll walk in and step on it and think nothing of it. Yeah, a couple different ways you could fool people into coming in here, but the same basic principle. You could do some upgrades to this with some timers and so forth so that once they trigger the trap, it auto resets after a few minutes. But then you run the risk of someone coming back and retrieving their body, or their friend coming in and retrieving their body, or just other people coming in and stealing your shit while you're away and figuring out that this is a trap. So the manual reset's nice. I've seen people do this where, you know, you just build a little room here with a window so you can taunt people to come in. And when they come in, they get blown away, and you can just step out the door here and pick up their loot. In any case, you can do a lot of different versions of this to have some fun and fuck with people and maybe get some free loot out of it. So regardless, kind of a good little beginner demonstration of how the memory cell works and how some of these basic power components work. I sure hope that answers some of those questions that you've had about the basic trap base and how to use it. And I hope this inspires you to get involved with some electrical components in Rust. Until then, good luck and don't suck.